So currently, if I go through and I save this, and then I were to preview it here, you're going to see nothing. Because we didn't put anything into the body part, and that's the part that's going to have all of the content. You can see right here, it says this is the title. It's getting that from that title element, okay? So I'm going to go back in here, and now we can start putting some stuff in the body. Now, this can be totally different depending on what you want your website to look like, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to tab in, and I'm just going to do an H1. So we'll do this, H1. You can see it automatically is doing the closing tag for me, and I'll just say, check out my cool text, okay? And if I save that, and we go back in here, Control R, you can now see that we have that. And we have other elements as well. So we can also do an H2. H2. And like, this is slightly smaller by default. Control S. And we'll go back here. Control R. And you can see it's slightly smaller. So there are 6 levels of headings. So there's H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Okay. So those are what you use for headings. Typically, I just end up using the first 3, maybe 4. Once you get to the lower ones, they're actually smaller than the regular paragraph, okay? For default text, that one is just the P element. So that just stands for paragraph. So, you know, this is used for a regular text section, you know, the body, okay? And we'll save that. Go in here, Control R, and you can see that's just your regular text, all right? So you see how this is sort of like Word, where we're writing, we're doing the same thing. We're making those elements. We're just manually marking them up. And that's kind of the difference, okay? Let's go ahead and just add some more content. You might want to scroll down because it's a little bit lower, but we can also do lists. So just like you can have bullet points, we can have what we call an unordered list. So you do an unordered list like that. And then inside of the unordered list, you have to have list items. So we do this, list item, list item, and we say, you know, this is 0.01. And rather than having to write every time, I'm just going to copy it, Control C, enter, Control V, enter, Control V, and we'll just say 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3, okay? So you have an unordered list, you close the unordered list, and then you make each list item in it, like so. And then if we go in here, Control R, you'll see it's a bulleted list, okay? Now, we can format all these things. These are just the most basic. These are what we call the defaults, but there are more options. We can also do what's called an ordered list. So OL, and I'm just going to copy this stuff here, Control C, Control V, and we will save that. So you want to make sure you nest things properly. So see how all these elements, right, they're all tabbed in from the main body element because they're all contained within that element. And then when I did these list items, they're contained within the unordered list, and these are contained within the ordered list. It just makes it easier to read and to understand. So I'm going to save that. We'll preview it, and you can see now when you do an ordered list, it puts numbers. Now by default, it's numbers. There's other ones you can choose, like you can choose Roman numerals, you can choose alphabetical. There's some other ones I think as well. But it'll give you these numbering, some way of counting instead. Okay, so there's lists. There's also tables. So tables are a bit more. So I think I'm gonna skip that. You can just look at what the code is. It's quite a bit. So you have to make a table, and then what you have to do is do a table row, like so, and then in the table row you could do a table heading, and say a heading. Heading, and then you could do table data, TD. Basically, each one of these is one column. So this will make one row, and then each one of these will be a column. So we'll say, column, and I'll just copy and paste it. Control C, enter, Control V, enter, Control V. And so you can do a table row. I can do another table row. Enter, Control V, Control. So this is all part of the tables. This will do a table row, meaning going from left to right. And then these are the numbers of them. And these are the numbers of those. And then if I refresh that, you'll see Control R. So heading. And then you can see there's 4 items. So the difference with the heading is that it looks just like the other stuff. Is that when it's a TH, it's basically bold and it's meant to be a heading style one. But if I did them all TD, table data, they would all be the same size. Hopefully that makes some sense. Okay. So this is the kind of the, and you're going to see like what we're doing here might seem like a lot, but this is actually the majority of kind of how you write it.